Good evening. I would like to read from the Acts of the Apostles. And when I made the video, the first video that I made about that's called My Christian Testimony, I never read that. My Bible knowledge went to Matthew. Basically, that's the extent that I knew the Bible. So when I read the conversion of Saul, I nearly fell out of my chair, and because when when I made this testimony, I said I was in a cloud of white light, and it took the pain away, and the pain was so immense, excruciating, that I couldn't even imagine any medication that would take that pain away. So when this white light hit me, I was in so much pain that my first reaction to that pain was, I want to slit my aorta with a knife because it hurt so much, and I'm not joking. I was in so much pain that my knees gave way, and I was lying on the floor and crawling into my bed. That's the amount of pain that I was in, and then I thought I'm dying. So this was the state I was in, and I once broke both my arms. That was nothing compared to the pain that I was in. Well, it was not nothing, but it was way worse. So when that white light hit me, the pain was gone, and the Acts of the Apostles I read years later after it happened. So like 5 years later, I first read the Acts of the Apostles. I said in my video, it was I think I said it was a white cloud that enveloped me, and so I want to read that from the conversion of Saul, because that's incredible, that this has not just happened to me, but also to some unimportant person called Saul. So as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth, and he heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And I had to Google that, what it means, the kick against the pricks, and it means something like fighting against the truth or something, or so it's an idiom. It's something like fighting against the truth, something to that extent. And it goes on, and he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. And the man which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing nothing. And Saul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man, but they led him by the hand, and brought him into Damascus. And he was 3 days blind, and did not eat nor drink. So that's basically what happened to me. And I told the story long before I read that. And when I read the conversion of Saul, I nearly fell out of my chair. That it says, round about him a light enveloped him from heaven. And he heard a voice. And I said, I heard a voice, but not like in meditation, but from outside of my head. And the people who were with Saul heard the voice too, and I was sure that if someone would have been in my room, they would have heard the voice, because I meditated for a long time, and usually you communicate with these entities in your head, but this was not like that at all. And if I would try to compare magic and Jesus, then it's like magic is very, very, very subtle energy manipulation, which nonetheless has an effect on the world. But Jesus you cannot deny when you meet him. And also I thought about the number one response that I would get from an atheist was that was a schizophrenic, a schizoid episode. But I don't agree with that, because I experienced that, something similar to that, which was something like a paranoid delusion, which brought me to the hospital, and the doctor had to explain to me that this is not real, and that's called a paranoid delusion. But on the other hand, it's also a matter of perspective, because if you practice magic, that's where you want to go. You want to open the doors of perception to the astral world. So and also, because I thought about that, if how could I explain why I'm so sure that this was not could not have been a hallucination. First of all, because my whole life changed after that happened, which usually that doesn't happen if you have a paranoid delusion, that your whole life changes dramatically, that you see the world with completely different eyes, that your life changes to the positive. That usually does not happen if you become a paranoid schizophrenic, that your life improves drastically. And also, I could not stop talking about it for like over a year. Although nobody would listen to me, I could not stop talking about it because, I mean, it's like you meet, I don't know, literally a king. How and also pretty much everything he told me came to pass. I didn't believe him what he said to me, that my life would get better, that I would improve, that I would get healthy again. And now it's 6 years later, and things have massively improved. I mean, I had no hope for such a long time that if that wouldn't have happened, I don't know if I would even still be around. So that's so. And by the way, the story is also in the Bible. So if you listen to my video that I made, that was the first video of my Christian testimony. That's exactly what happened. A voice from outside his head talked to him. The people that were with him could hear that voice too, but they didn't see anyone. And he saw just a white light, like I saw a white bubble of light enveloping me. And that's not something that happens every day. And I did not grow up religiously. I never read the Bible in my life. So I was not somehow subconsciously conjuring that up or imagining things, because I didn't have any knowledge about that stuff, about the Bible and so on. So that's very I really don't know what to make of all this.